I'm folklorist and author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And we host Eerie Travels.
It's a podcast where we discuss all things strange and unusual.
We discuss everything from Bigfoot to UFOs.
From Mothman to haunted locations.
From hidden history to legendary beasts.
From Cocaine Bear to the Jersey Devil.
From holler monsters to conspiracy theory.
We interview amazing guests that are actual investigators into the things that many believe to only be in the world of the imagination.
We also get into verbal debates about which monsters would win in a fight.
If any of this sounds interesting to you, then join us twice a week on your favorite podcast platform.
So look for Eerie Travels, and we'll see you on the other side.
Gather around the fire, my friends. Welcome to the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your guide, Matthew. Here, you'll hear encounters of the spooky, paranormal, the strange, and the unknown. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's showtime.
Was these two globes. I don't know how to describe them. And I stood up there and looked at them, and it's like...
That how she turned and looked at me, she backed straight up to my closet door.
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a chupacabra. I was so excited.
I am drinking something I affectionately refer to as a Matty Rita.
And welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your host, Matthew Orton. And I want to say a special thank you to everybody out there that's been supporting the show. You guys, the show is growing. I appreciate the help. I appreciate the love. I really do. And if you love the show, give us a 5-star rating. Share us with your friends. We're on all your streaming platforms. I don't care. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all of them. Give us a 5-star rating. And comment. Drop a comment on there. If you like an episode, drop a comment. Tell us where you're listening from. You know, not everybody's in Arkansas. I know that much. But tell us where you're listening from. I want to know where you guys are at. You know, thinking about doing a live show sometime in the near future is what we're kind of kicking around the idea. And so, you know, having people call in and talk to us about certain encounters and everything. So that's in the works right now. We've got one investigation under our belt. We have 2 more investigations coming up. We're going to be doing a night investigation over with the Shadow Stalker area. Of course, by the time this episode drops, it's now known as the Arkansas Black Thing. And we're going to be going out there for a night investigation, I believe in early October. Also in October 26th and 27th, we're going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo. Come on down. We'll have some T-shirts, maybe some koozies, maybe some hats. We're working on it. I'll have the equipment set up as well, so that way you can come down. You can be part of the team. The team will be in and out throughout the whole entire weekend. I'll be there with the kids. I'll be in and out with the kids as well, because that is, you know, my weekend with the kiddos. So, but we're going to try and grab some of the guest speakers and, you know, get a chance to talk with them. And, of course, if you've had an encounter, email me, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Check out the website, drunkencryptids.com. It may be a new website by the time this episode airs. I don't know yet, you know, we're in the process of it. And so, yeah, take a look at it. Tell me what you think. T-shirts, though, are sell, please. That helps support the show, helps support equipment. I appreciate it. That's, you know, what we're doing this for. Trying to get to the bottom of some of this stuff. Try and go out there and look and share you guys with, you know, the evidence that we find. But, and the last and final shout out I got to give is, of course, to blademedia.com. Blademedia.com is this, I love small businesses. When I go out, if I go somewhere, I go anywhere, I like to go to a small local business. I'm not a chain guy. I hate chains. I don't like them. That's just how I am. There's small pet stores that I will try and go get crickets from to feed my gecko and get dog food from and such. There's coffee shops, and I like to go to the small coffee shop guys. There is Donut Envy, this awesome little donut food truck that's right here by my house. And I will swing in there and I'll get a nice coffee from them, and the kids love their donuts. So Donut Envy, which is, it's not envy as in ENVY, it's NV, the letters NV. Great little food truck, you guys. Give them a check out. But Blade Media is this great small business, and it's located in Bald Knob. And Dillon has created this all on his own. This awesome, unique company for himself. And his passion is to build the websites. His passion is to go in and do the videos and creating images. I mean, he's the one that created the logo. And I could not have asked for anybody better. And he volunteered to do it all on his own. And I couldn't be more grateful for that opportunity right there. And ironic enough, Dillon, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's between your schedule and my schedule, it's been kind of crazy the past couple of months.
It is very crazy, yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm always busy. You're always pushing out really good content, good podcasts and videos,
Well, I appreciate that. Well, we're working on the video side, but I think that's where you're going to be coming in and helping us out with, I believe. Am I correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We're talking about next Saturday, I believe, aren't we?
Yeah, so, and podcast time travel, so next Saturday will be, I want to say, a week before, a week and a half.
Two or three Saturdays ago, if you're listening now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're listening now, we've already been out there. So, yeah, welcome to podcast time travel. But, well,
Man, yeah.
Dillon, tell everybody a little bit about Blade Media. Tell us, the idea you came up with and, what you've been doing with it and, kind of give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a shout out.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate the awesome words that you gave me at the beginning, man. You're giving me too much high praise.
I know, it's honest praise. It is honest praise.
Well, I appreciate that. No, man. So, I just turned 30 on the 22nd, and, about 3 or 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I decided to just, quit working for other people. I just wanted to work for myself. So, I used to work on a night shift. I worked night shift for about 6 years at a company called Sun Chemical. And we made inks for, this company called Bryce in Searcy. And that was a good job. It was easy, it was manual labor and stuff. But, over time, I just got old. And that's not really where my passion was. I've always been really artistic, and I've always been into making things and photography and video and whatnot and writing.
Yeah, you do photography services as well, right?
Of course, yeah. I do a lot of product photography and like headshots for employees and stuff like that. But
do you do weddings, just for people listening?
Yeah, I do. It's been a hot minute since I have, honestly, since I've done personal things. But yeah, I'm absolutely available for weddings and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to become self-employed, and it started off as just photography, ironically. And when I decided to quit working there, I had a little crappy website, like 1 or 2 pages, and I'll be honest, not my best work at all. But I've been really blessed with the opportunities that I've had. And today, I have like several realtors that I do marketing for. I take photos of homes for those realtors. I do stuff for like farmers insurance. I do municipalities too. Like I've got the city of Bald Knob. I do their website, and I've just had a lot of really good clients to work with. It's more of a blessing for me than it is them. I'm very humbled.
And I think you picked up another client today, didn't you?
Today.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Like about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of. Kind of, yeah. So I talked to you guys, but it's not really,
I know. I appreciate it. I'm honestly excited to see what you do with the website.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, and I'm not being biased, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the show right now, but that logo that I did for y'all is one of my most favorites I've ever done.
I love that logo. Everybody that sees that logo, they love it. They absolutely, that captured everything that I was trying to, it was like you read my mind. And,
See,
for everybody
that's
listening,
what we try to do at Blade Media is read the client's mind.
yeah, I mean, so everybody listening, if you're interested, I mean, go to blademedia.com, and I'll tell you right, and Blade is BLAYED media.com, and I'll tell you right now, when me and him talked initially at first in the very, the infant stages of, Drunken Cryptids, I don't even think we had an episode recorded yet. And you and me talked about this, and all because I was brainstorming one day. I was like, oh, well, Dillon, let me see how much. Gave you a call, told you what I was thinking, and I think within a matter of like 2 hours, you sent me this picture.
Yeah, it didn't take me too awful long, but just talking with you and seeing your passion behind it, and not just your passion, but your tone with everything, and how excited you were. I wanted that to embody everything. And almost immediately before we got off the phone, I mean, I had envisioned what I think would look good, what I think you would like, and it didn't take me long to whip that up for you.
Man, it's perfect. I'm not gonna lie, it's perfect. We're gonna talk a little bit more off air because I got some little logo ideas I want to throw at you too, as
Cool.
well, to let you kind of play with and goof off with. I think I talked to you a little bit about one earlier, but yeah. Well, man, so you've done, I mean, I'll be honest with you, for, and saying that you're old at 30, I'm be honest with you, I'm 50 next year. So I'm like going, you're not old. But I remember being 32 and going, man, I feel old. But you've come a long way. And this is something you should be proud of. And I will tell you too, though, because, me and your dad are really good friends. And your dad's really proud of you.
Well, I appreciate that.
So, I mean, Aaron, if you're listening, I'm sure you are. I know your dad's proud of you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Because, when I went up there after we did the Wanna Mint episode with him on there, and that's what we talked about. I mean, I was so excited that you were doing, the logo for us. That's how I got him on Wanna Mint. Because I had to call him. I was like, dude, Dillon's doing the, And he was like, okay, man, I don't believe in this stuff. And now we have an episode.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me too, because like growing up as a kid, he was always, I've always, believed in this stuff, and here soon you'll learn why. But growing up, he always told me, he's like, man, that stuff doesn't exist, yada yada yada. And then when you told me, like you called me, like I think the morning after
I did
that episode that you did with Dad, you were like, hey, you're gonna be, just psyched about this. And like when I heard that episode, I was just, baffled.
Well, so have you been? You've been to the house? I'm sure.
Yeah, I've actually been there by myself before.
So did anything happen to you inside the house?
Unfortunately, I never, personally experienced anything there. But I had this. It was just a weird feeling being there, though, after knowing everything that had gone on there.
Well, so my ex was allegedly sensitive, and I recorded your dad that Friday night, and she wasn't listening. She was here, but she didn't listen to any of the episode. And so when we were heading up to go to her parents' place that Saturday, and I was like, well, why don't we swing by? We're going to be. I'm never up here, so let's go swing by and say hi to Aaron. And she was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, yeah, this is the house that's supposedly haunted. And she goes, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear nothing about the episode. I don't want to hear nothing at all. I just want to walk in. And she was so unnerved upstairs, and to where, where the bathroom's being fixed, redoing the upstairs at the house.
As soon as you get to the top of those stairs, yeah.
Yeah, and then she kept saying she kept seeing like some guy standing out in the backyard and stuff. And so she actually hit on a couple of things that's in the episode, because we listened to it on the way home. And she was just like, I called that. So yes, you did. Yes, you did. So yeah. So there's when I get the paranormal team put together, I've got the cryptid team put together. But when I get the paranormal team put together, that's going to be one of our first stops.
Man, that'd be crazy.
I know. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you just said though, you were as a kid, you believed in it because you experienced, or you got a lot. This is your show, so I'm gonna let you run with it from here. So,
So
yeah, go ahead.
I have, and I've been thinking on this. We've been trying to do an episode for what, like a month and a half now, something like that.
4 months.
How long?
4 months later.
Oh my Lord, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I had to do the SpongeBob thing.
Now.
4 months later.
Wow. Anyway, so, I've been thinking on it long and hard, though, here lately, because I've actually been experiencing stuff lately since we've talked, and I'm really excited to share this stuff with you. But,
oh, man, let's do it.
Yeah, so, as far back as I can remember, around when I was about 8 years old, I started seeing things. And it kind of just gradually happened. It wasn't nothing too crazy right off the bat, It was always just, very subtle stuff. But growing up around that age, around 8 years old, I didn't really quite understand, what paranormal activity was until I started experiencing it. And that's when I got into it. The internet was kind of starting to be a thing, heavily. So I started, watching, ghost hunters on Sci-Fi. I used to get on their website and watch their lives and whatnot. But my first really clear experience that I can remember, I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom. It may have been, 10 o'clock at night or something like that. But, I was just playing on my, Windows XP computer, just whatever it was. And, I heard like this wisping sound, like fabric brushing back and forth really quickly, along the door or the wall or something. I didn't know what it was. So I turned around to see what was happening. And those clothes hampers that you can hang on the back of the door?
Yeah.
So I had not much laundry in there at all, maybe half full, but it was hanging on the back of the door. But when I turned around to look at it, that's what was moving back and forth, just swinging back and forth by itself. But what's crazy, as soon as I laid eyes on it, it just came to an abrupt halt. I mean, it just stopped. Like, oh, I'm getting caught,
That is
and
crazy.
I didn't know what to think about it, I was just baffled. Like, what did I just see? I wasn't tired, back at that age, I was staying up, during the summer until, goodness, 1, 2 in the morning. Yeah. And it wasn't too late at night at all. I just didn't know what in the heck was going on, but it did scare me, obviously.
Well, I'm not going to lie, 8 years old, I mean, that would kind of freak me out too.
For sure. And, and I told my mom and my stepdad at the time, but all they could tell me, it's probably just the air vent kicking on and, it just moves your hamper a little bit. And I'm like, no way. A little bit of air coming out of an air vent is not going to move a half-full hamper back and forth abruptly like that.
And it's not going to come to an abrupt stop either.
No, not at all. And that's just, they couldn't believe me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get it. Being a dad myself now, and my oldest son is going to be 8 soon. The stories I get from him sometimes, I can see where they were coming from. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. But I'll be honest with you. So with my experience as a kid, with the paranormal and everything, to where now, I'll be honest with you, my kids say something, I'm like, what'd you hear? What'd you see?
For sure.
You know? And Sammy, she knows what I do. She knows all about this stuff. And, I mean, she's done 2 episodes already. And she's really into it. And her little friend, they'll be like, we heard a noise. Dad, we heard a noise. And then they'll look at me and go, really? So I know when they're teasing me and when they actually hear something. And then, so I have an older house. And you know how they are. Older houses, they're going to sell in the creek. Yeah, there's nothing haunted here. But kids get excited. And I have a cat who gets curious and she makes a lot of noise. So, yeah.
Right.
Everything they have supposedly heard, I've debunked a million times. And they still hear it. It's crazy. Yeah. But in your case, though, I'll be honest with you. If my daughter came and said that she saw the hamper hanging on the back of her door swinging, and then it suddenly stopped, I'd be like going, okay, we got a problem. Right.
Yeah. Man, it really creeped me out, But, that's like my earliest, memory of something like that happening. And I couldn't explain it. I didn't know quite what was going on. But the next thing that ever happened to me, my cousin had stayed with, maybe, I think it was like a week or something like that. It wasn't long after this happened, maybe a few months. He come down and stayed a week with us during the summer. And, this is back when, Singular was a company for cell phones, little flip track phones.
Yeah.
And we both had one each, you know, just so our moms could stay in touch with us when we would go off to family members for a week, you know. And we went to bed, and we had our phones on top of my dresser next to the bed. And we woke up the next morning, and it happened almost as soon as we woke up. But literally, his phone was thrown off the dresser into the floor.
No, it
not
wasn't.
Violently. Yeah, for sure. Like, not violently, and it didn't have a lot of power behind it, but it was straight up thrown off that dresser into the floor. It was
Same house, same room.
Same house, same room. This is at a little, you know, I'll say little. It
Well,
was
what were y'all
pretty
doing? What were y'all doing before? It flew off.
we just woke up. We were just like, you know, watching a movie or something like that. You know, just sitting in bed. You know.
Do you remember what movie you were watching?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, I was curious because I don't know whether that could have brought something. Were y'all talking about this earlier in the day? Maybe.
No.
Did you tell your cousin about it or no?
I had never told my cousin anything that I'd experienced, you know, but keep in mind, up until then, it was just the clothes hamper thing.
Yeah.
But after that happened, I told him about it, you know, like, hey, you know, you saw it too. Finally, somebody can believe me. This has been going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, get this. So, and I'm not trying to move through too fast, but, you know.
You're fine.
So the very next thing that happened, the experience has kind of died down after that, and I'm talking like maybe a year or two. But same house, okay? Same house. You know, fast forward, you know, I'm probably 10, 11 years old at this point, and you know, like the big old school TVs, big box TVs that were in like the wood cabinet.
Yes, I was the remote control for one.
Yeah, dude, so we had one of those. I loved it. It was cool. But we had one of those. And the way the living room at the time was laid out, it sat in the floor in front of our bay window. It was one of those protruding windows that was kind of curved out, you know. And it was dark, nighttime, you know. We didn't have the curtains closed or anything. If you had the dining room light on behind me from watching TV, you could see the dining room, like you could see the reflection of the dining room in the window behind me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's late at night, man. I'm talking, I don't want to get, you know, too crazy, but probably like witching hour, you know, around 3 a.m. or something.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I was like, you know, I'm getting pretty tired. So, and I'm probably a little too ashamed to admit this, but I used to get pretty freaked out at that house when I was a kid.
Well, there's nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, I'll be honest with you, is, you know, and that's the thing, too, is, you know, paranormal encounters affect everybody differently. You've already had the phone, you've already had the hamper, and obviously you were already picking and feeling something was not right there. And so there's nothing to be ashamed about at all.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as a kid. You know, when you experience these things as a kid, it does leave a mark on you. It's going to leave some sort of imprint upon you, and it's going to be an everlasting thing. And I don't know if everybody can hear in the background, but apparently there's something going on in our throat because there's sirens everywhere, and I don't know if you can hear them or not, but hopefully they're not coming through the microphone. But
I can't hear anything.
Okay, good. So the only thing so there's nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, there's people... When you encounter the paranormal and you encounter something that's not supposed, and I'm using my fingers in parentheses, I'm not supposed to be there, you know, it can be very frightening. You know, my encounter that I had at Fort Hood, you know, that morning when I got home, my ex looked at me and I was pale and just completely freaked out, you know, and I'm an adult.
It's definitely unnerving, you know what I mean? Like when something happens and something moves by itself, you know, like you can't explain it, you know. But it was just crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So there you are. You're sitting there. You got the TV on. You're getting tired. It's pretty late at night.
So the way that I would shut everything down, you know, being that late at night during the summer or whatever, I would go to my room, turn the light on. I would, you know, run back down the hallway to the living room where the other light was at. And I would turn everything off, get everything ready to go, you know, yada, yada, yada. And then I'll turn the light switch off, and as soon as I'd make a mad dash to my bedroom and close that door. Because that house just creeped me out. I've seen things, you know, and I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my, my nighttime, ritual, whatever you want to call it. So I turned the TV off to start shutting everything down, And I happened to look up in the window, the reflection, and the dining room light is not on at this point, okay? Keep this in mind. But the living room light is, so I've got some light. But I looked up in that window above the TV, and I see a full body figure. Like there's no features that I can see on this appearance, but it looked like a grown up, and I thought to myself, maybe it's my mom or maybe it's my stepdad going to the kitchen or something, because it went from the dining room to the kitchen. So I got up and I wasn't thinking anything paranormal, okay? I'm just literally thinking maybe this is one of my parents. I stood up, walked in there, and there was nobody in the kitchen. The kitchen light was still off, and from that point, the laundry room light was still off. We had a very good sized laundry room next to the kitchen, and I had walked back there to see if anybody was in there, maybe messing with the laundry or something, and there wasn't. And the garage door was locked still. And that right there freaked me out, because I know what I saw for sure.
That gave me goosebumps.
That was the first time. That was the first time that I'd ever seen a full body apparition, and I knew what that was at that point, because remember I told you I became intrigued at 8.
Yeah.
And I was watching ghost hunters and learning about everything and reading stories and doing all this research because it intrigued me. I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy getting scared, but I loved the whole science behind it. You know what I mean? And I knew what a full body apparition was, but as soon as I saw neither of my parents back there in that laundry room, I knew what I had saw. And from that point on, it's followed me the rest of my life. Like a month ago, I saw it.
Yeah, I remember when you and me talked, months ago about this, and you mentioned, we didn't go into detail, obviously, because, I was working, obviously, so it's kind of hard for me, during the day when I'm out there, with my regular job to, get a lot of the details and stuff out. But what you just told me gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, I get goosebumps talking about it, man. Like, it still creeps me out because it's still happening today.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. I'm going to go back to, because I'm picturing right now you sitting there with the TV right there, and you can see in the reflection of the TV this figure walk into the kitchen.
Right. And it even had a bounce to its walk. You know how, like, when someone's walking, they have this slight bounce? Everything was, every detail was perfect, but there was no features that I could see.
Yeah, so, so a shadow type creature thing.
A shadow person, that's all I can think of,
Yeah, because, so what I've seen about with shadow people, too, to be honest with you, is a lot of times, I think that they freak out when they see us, or they recognize that we see them.
Right.
All except for, because I've had 3 shadow people encounters, 2 of them when I was a kid, and 1 as an adult in Texas when I was living in Louisville. And this one in Louisville, so, I've talked about it before, but, we were laying in bed, me and my ex, she was asleep, had the, I sleep with the TV on, and the TV was on, and where the bedroom door is located at, to the living room, where the TV was set up at, and right beside the doorway, the bedroom door, was the old tower for DVDs. And my daughter, Stacy, had been living with us at the time, and she was visiting her mom in California. Mm-hmm. So this little shadow thing is peeking around the corner at me as I'm laying in bed, and I'm looking at it, and my first thought was, what's Stacy doing? You know what I mean? And then I realized it wasn't Stacy, and I sat up a little bit, and it saw me, and it jerked its head back, away, and I come flying out of the bed, because my thought was it was the dog, but the dog was in its crate, so yeah, but with this thing just kind of like strolling through,
just going about its life, like it had lived there before me.
Yeah. Well, do you think that? So, since
like
you said you're this thing has followed you. what that tells me is, possibly what you saw there was probably maybe a residual. So much. So I think that with a lot of hauntings and ghosts and stuff, there's so much residual energies that I've talked about it before on the show with events, emotional events, because we generate electricity. I mean, we're not going to generate a computer like the Matrix or anything, but we're electrical creatures. So, when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're excited, when we're severely depressed, any high emotional thing can leave imprints. I believe, whether it be
I believe it,
an electromagnetic field. Yeah, go ahead.
Energy never goes away, like, ever. Like, it's like once it's there, it's a constant thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of hauntings are, is a lot of residuals. I think to where, if you're living in a house, even as it was built 20 years ago, people go like, there's no reason why this should be haunted. Well, you don't know who the previous owner was. You don't know whether or not they were excitable people, sad people, happy people, any of those things. And so they're...
Also, you don't know what used to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be the ground itself, the area itself,
Yeah, which is, for the farm that we're going to be investigating, But, I think with this thing, I think that it's creepy. I'm not going to lie, it's absolutely creepy. And I want to get more into what's following. Well, so let's talk about, you believing that it's following you. Because I think I may be able to, we may be able to go down a rabbit hole here and maybe find some solutions or something.
Well, that's what I was talking about before I started telling you all that. Like, I remember I told you I was, I've been really pondering really long and hard about things.
Yeah.
About things. And I'll get back to it later, but I want to say this real fast. My mom believes me now. She's believed for many years. But her and I were talking, recently, and we both came to the conclusion that maybe it's attached to this, late 1800s China hutch that I have in my possession now. And about the time I was 8 years old is when she got it.
No.
I promise.
No, I believe you, but...
And I still see things today. And the only time that I do see things and feel things and hear things is in my home, where my China hutch is.
I think it'd be burning a China hutch.
I know.
Have you thought about just experimenting? Like, I don't know, putting it in storage for a month or two?
And see, so I thought about that, but like, it just makes total sense, though. Everywhere I've been throughout my life that China hutch has been the only places that I've ever experienced anything. There's been times we've had it in storage. There's been times that we've lost it, just, through life problems and whatnot. But, we managed to get it back, for Mom's birthday one year. But for that duration of time, 3-4 years, everything was quiet, everything was peaceful. I hadn't had an experience or anything. But as soon as we got that dang thing back,
man, I tell you what, when we're gonna, when next time we head up the Bald Knob, we're gonna swing by your place. I want to break out the EVP and see if we get anything off of the EVP up there.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, I have an EVP, and we'll break that out and see what we can get and see what's going on with the China hutch thing. Because if you're experiencing stuff like this, I mean, there may be something attached to it.
I think there is. And, it doesn't have to be anything malevolent or anything like that, but I'm almost starting to feel like it is, based just off of things that have happened.
Well, let's talk about that. What's happened that makes you think it's malevolent?
So, well, hang on here. Let me think back. I'm going to go in a linear way, if that's okay.
You're
that
doing
really
just
helps
fine.
me remember.
Yep. Whatever helps you out.
Okay, cool. So from that point on, I saw it one more time from seeing it in the window over the TV. I saw it once more, and it was peeking at me, just kind of like yours peeked at you. It was peeking at me from the laundry room. But like, I was in my bedroom down the hall, and like, if you're standing in the hall, you've got a straight look down through the whole home, all the way to the end wall to the laundry room, which is like the end of the home.
Yeah.
It was peeking at me from that room. and I saw it, but as soon as I saw it, like, it moved its head back, like, oh crap, you saw me, and that creeped me out. And then I had one more really good experience, which, I say really good, it's not good, but there was one morning that we were all getting ready for church, and I could not find my shoes at all, anywhere. And we ended up finding them. Of course, I'm not going to be looking in the kitchen, you know what I mean? But they were placed, when I say perfectly, Matthew, I mean perfectly. They were lined up sole to sole, heel to heel. My shoes were placed perfectly next to each other in the middle of the kitchen. And, like, I wouldn't put them there. My family wouldn't do that. I grew up in a pretty religious home,
Yeah.
And they're not going to mess with me. And plus, they didn't believe me anyways on that stuff, at the time. Because they hadn't experienced anything like that yet, But that was like the last thing that I really experienced in that home. And, life stuff happened. They got a divorce, and we moved off away, And we ended up leaving that China hutch there in that home. And, for a few years, I experienced nothing at all. And it was pretty, I wouldn't say constant, but it was pretty regular enough that I knew, quote unquote, my house was haunted. You know what I mean?
Well, let me pause you real quick. Where did your mom get the China hutch at?
My dad and her had bought it together when they were trying to fix things back in the day. I was probably, 6, maybe 6, 7, something like that.
So,
and we
was this when they were in West Helena or up in Bald Knob?
No, we were in Bald Knob.
Okay.
So they went to like a flea market or something like that, or a pawn shop, and they found it. They loved it, and Dad got it for her. And yeah, and of course, typically when you move something that has something attached to it, I've always read, and I don't know, just like the factual thing, but it doesn't follow. It's like it takes time to follow what it's attached to and then rebuild its energy. You know what I mean? So it would make sense.
Which is a possibility, yeah.
Yeah. It would make sense to me that the reason I didn't experience something for a year or two is because they just got it,
Or possibly the other thing is so with the China hutch being in the house, mom and dad getting divorced in the house, mom getting remarried, other guy comes into the house. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of energies right there that might have drawn it out.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because it does, it can bond with other energy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But, they got a divorce. We moved out. We moved back to Mammoth Spring. And I didn't experience anything for a long time. And the next time that I can remember experiencing something was when Mom and I, actually, as a matter of fact, I didn't experience anything for years because I graduated high school. And when I graduated, my mom moved back to Arkansas, and I stayed in Missouri for like 4 or 5 more years. And I didn't experience anything then either. But I moved. Actually, let me take a rewind here. I graduated, and Mom and I moved to West Plains, Missouri, into a home that we rented, and she brought the China hutch there. And this is where it gets creepy. This is the most terrifying experience that I've ever had. Like, hands down, probably will be the only most terrifying experience I've ever had. She worked a night shift job at the hospital, I believe. And so she was, obviously gone real late. And I was working on a college homework assignment, which I went to school for computer graphics and programming, of course. But it might have been 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I was my bedroom was at the other end of the home compared to where the laundry room was in the garage area.
Okay.
So plain as day, crystal clear, I heard a little girl giggle.
Yeah, that creeps me out.
Yeah,
Anytime you hear kids giggle or something like that, that's just creepy.
yeah, it scared the shit out of me. Pardon my language, but it's to this day, thinking back to it, it just my spine tingles. You know.
Did it just giggle like in the room that you were in, or was it down the
No,
hallway? Or
I heard it. Like I heard it come from the laundry room down the hall. So like where my bedroom was.
oh, that gave me. Oh, see, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. So I would leave my room to get in the hallway, and then you had to walk past my mom's room was right across from me. But then you had to walk past the guest room, the bathroom, and then you're in the living room. Well, you're right on the threshold of the living room and the dining room. And then you had to walk through the kitchen, and then there was the laundry room. And in the laundry room was the garage door. I heard the giggle come from the laundry room. Plain as day. Like, I knew I wasn't hearing something. I knew I wasn't too tired to be, hearing a giggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a giggle's something hard to, like, oh, no, it's a unique sound. It's a really, laughter is its own sound. It's hard to duplicate it.
Right. That terrified me.
That would have terrified me too.
It literally terrified me. Like to the point that I really wanted to leave the house, but I was too terrified to leave my room. I was too afraid to walk down the hall and go through the front door. I didn't want to walk anywhere. I didn't want to take a step towards that sound. So, I closed my door.
I would have as well.
Right, and I locked it. I don't know what that's going to do, but I did it.
Makes you feel good.
I slept all night. It did make me feel good, but I was still terrified. But I locked the door, closed it and locked it, and I slept with that light on all night. Like my mom woke me up in the morning knocking, like, "Why is the light on? Like, why are you sleeping with the light on? Why is the door locked?"
Yeah.
Oh, I must have just fell asleep. I don't remember locking. I didn't want to tell her what I just heard. And keep in mind, at this point, I'm 17 years old. My mom still doesn't believe in me at all that all that crap happened back in the day. But a month or two passed, and I heard it again, crystal clear, plain as day, but it was much closer. It sounded like maybe it was right at the end of the freaking hallway. Same giggle. Or at least the same thing giggling. That terrified me. I closed the door. I locked it. Mom actually ended up getting off work early that night and coming home, and I was so excited that she did because I was so scared. But I told her, I was like, "Mom, this is what's been happening. It happened for the second time tonight." And her whole demeanor just changed. I don't know. She just had this stare, she went kind of pale a little bit. And she told me, she said, "I've been hearing the same thing."
No.
Yes. But she has been hearing it at the foot of her bed every great once in a while.
No. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
And that right there, I was like, okay, that terrified. That right there, my mom, after my entire life not believing in me and that stuff, and then her finally confirming, yeah, you have been hearing this stuff, that was almost a terrifying thing as me personally hearing it.
Well, she may have not wanted to admit it when you were younger and stuff, is to validate. Maybe because she was trying to not, she was trying to write it off.
Perhaps.
It's her imagination, or she's hearing things, or this isn't real, or can't be happening. So when you would come up and say, "Hey, Mom," she's like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And I don't think it was, it's more, I think, a protective way towards kids, if that makes sense.
It may have been.
You think about it, if you tell the kids, "Oh, no, that's not real," they're going to believe you because you're your dad, your mom. They're going to do that. So, so finally, maybe with the second time of this happening, and she was like, "Okay, all right, there's something going on. I'm with you." She's looking at you now. You are 17. You're a lot more mature. And to where now she's able to look at you and go, "Yeah, I'm having the same problem."
Yep.
What'd y'all do?
And we lived in West Plains now, at that time.
Yeah, but what'd y'all do?
What did we do? I thought that's where we lived. We ended up finding a new home to go to and rent. Well, that's what we did,
That's what I would have done as well.
Thankfully, the lease was pretty much up by this time, I think it was just like a little 6-month lease or something like that. But, that was just scary, And this, keep in mind, like, we just recently put 2 and 2 together. Like, oh, maybe it's the China hutch. So we moved with that China hutch to the new home that we rented in Myrtle, Missouri, which is maybe, 30 minutes north. Well, 30 minutes south of West Plains. And I never really experienced anything in that house. And I don't think my mom did either. But, at that point in time, in that home, it might have been, around winter time, around, November or December. I decided that, I wanted to go ahead and move out on my own, get my own place, maybe get a roommate with my best friend, and, that's what we did. We ended up moving out, or I did.
Okay.
From that home. And my mom, she's sad. Her kid's grown up, and her kid left her. Well, she didn't really have any ties there too much, and she wanted to go, move back here to Bald Knob, Arkansas. And that's what she did. She packed up herself, and my aunt, which is, my mom's half-sister, she ended up coming out there to help mom move and pack and whatnot. And this is not my personal experience here. This is just what I've been told, and I might tell it a little bit wrong, but she said that it was pretty much, it just turned dark pretty much, and they were driving down the highway to go to her house, I believe. I think they were just getting little straggler stuff they could fit inside a car, after the move.
Yeah.
But she almost ran off the road because she had to slam her brakes and move the car, really abruptly, because she almost hit somebody. But the way they explain it, it was a shadow person. I mean, just like a smoky, shadowy figure that just literally rose up out of the freaking highway right in front of the car. Like it was pissed off that my mom left. And it was pissed off that I left.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like almost a potential generational curse as well.
Right? That's what I've had that thought cross my mind too. Like it was mad that that mom and I parted ways, and it's just like everything slipped through its fingers,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no clue, man. But
so they said it rose up. They slammed on the brakes. Did it disappear, or did they drive through it, or what happened?
No, it's just like it rose up out of the highway, out of the asphalt, into view of their headlights, and it's like she squalled the tires and moved the steering wheel real fast just so she wouldn't hit. In a split second, you're going to think, oh, maybe it's somebody. You know what I mean?
Obviously, yeah.
But that's what happened. It just rose out of the highway. They thought it was somebody, and so she squalled the tires, pulled the steering wheel real fast, and then when they come to a full stop, nothing's there at all.
Yeah, see, at least he was honest about saying, she able to talk to you about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think at that point, that's when we became pretty open with each other about, paranormal stuff that happened to us, stuff that we've experienced.
Yeah. And,
there's been so much that's happened, it's almost overwhelming. But, I've grown, ironically, I've grown used to it.
So do you have the China hutch in your residence now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. That's what I was talking about the EVP earlier. I wanted to make sure you still have it, and you're still having it. You're still seeing stuff.
Oh yeah. I just saw something the other day.
Do tell.
Yeah. So that was pretty much. Well, that's not the last thing that happened up until recently. Nothing happened from the time I had a roommate in. Let me think here. 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Up until about 2016, 2017. We were visiting my mom, at her house in Beebe, Arkansas, and you know, I didn't see anything, but my wife and I at the time, you know, we were sleeping there with her, not with my mom, but like in the spare room. We heard something like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know how like when a little dog runs across hardwood with its nails?
Yes, I do.
We heard that run right through the living room. They don't have inside animals. And I told Mom about that the next morning. And keep in mind, they do have the China hutch in this house at the time. She took that China hutch with her and put it in that house in BB. That first night that we ever stayed there, I heard something. And that's what I heard running through the hallway, or the living room. So I told Mom about that the next morning. And she was like, yeah. She's like, I hear that all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting used to it now.
Yeah, it's like almost, it's just like she got used to it also. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm used to it. It's whatever. Like, sometimes it can scare me, you know, but most of the time I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean, the thing, it doesn't sound like is actually trying to hurt y'all at all. I mean, I don't think it's anything, you know, malevolent. I really don't so far. Unless, I mean, has anybody been attacked or anything?
I'll get to that soon.
Oh, let's do that one. Because now we're about to start changing minds.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
So, you know, after that happened, you know, I was like, oh, that's, you know, cool. You know, I was like, I don't have to live with it, you know. But anyways, you know, that happened. And then it's like, this is what's weird. That was probably one of the first times that I had stayed with my mom since I had moved out of the house in Myrtle when we parted ways.
Okay.
I ended up, I think it ended up following me or getting excited that it saw me again or something, that it followed me home to the home that I bought.
Like a little lost puppy dog.
Right. It's like it followed me.
Yeah, because I remember when you lived in Searcy.
Yeah, the little white house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like one of the first few nights that my wife and I had first stayed there. We heard the same, like, nail clickety-clacking across the hardwood floor. But this is what terrified me. It sounded really quiet at first, but it got closer and closer, the louder and louder it got. And it was coming straight for our bedroom door. And, yes, and that creeped me out. It scared her, so I got up to check and see what the heck it was, and I peeked out. I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna open the door wide open. But I peeked out, you know, and I didn't see anything. It was dead quiet, and I walked all through that home. I even went downstairs to check on things, and there was nothing. So that told me, like, okay, it followed me. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that was like the last thing that really happened up until recently to the home that I'm in now. So that house I'm renting out now to some tenants.
Okay.
And I'm renting a house from my uncle now, where the China is today.
Okay.
And
now you're up there. You're on the top of the mountain, right?
Right. Yeah.
With everybody else around you.
Yep. We're living
your grandparents and everything right there.
Right.
Yep.
It's like 8 acres, and all my family lives together, kind of.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
It's actually a really pretty area.
It is. It's nice, you know. But you know, little stuff that's happened here and there. You know, I've heard my guitar low E string just get plucked once or twice by itself. I have seen the same shadow figure peek at me down the hall. I've had a few family and friends see the same thing. It's peeked at them, and it scared the crap out of them.
Well, you may be number 2 on the investigation list.
Man, come on! Like I want to see if I can talk to it. I probably shouldn't, but I want to see if I can talk to it or hear it. You know what I mean? Like I've never tried that before at all, ever. I'm kind of too afraid to, but I'm intrigued to. But you know, the most recent thing that happened, the two most recent things that happened, I was changing my 2-year-old in the living room floor, and I have this really big, heavy eagle portrait painting that my dad just recently gave me. It used to be his, and it's hanging on the wall, and I've got it secured with 2 wall anchors that hold up to 60 pounds apiece with screws, and it hangs on a wire. It's hanging off of screw heads. So you can't, if you grab the side of that picture and you wobble it left and right and you try to pull it straight away from the wall, it ain't coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, this freaking thing fell off the wall and landed right next to me and my son.
No, it did not.
It did. And, I thought, it's been a while since I've had something physical happen like that. I mean, a very long time. And so I didn't really think anything of it. Even though, in hindsight, I know there's paranormal crap. But, I rehung that painting. And I tried to budget every which way I could. Matthew, I could not. Like, the only way that thing could have fallen off that wall is if it was lifted up off of those screws. And everything was intact. The drywall was not ripped or anything. The screws weren't hanging out. I mean, everything was great. It's still hanging today, just fine.
But did you see like a slide mark, from it slid up, or you know what I mean?
Not at all.
All right, because your dad talks about how he heard a painting slide, at the house that he's in now. So I was curious whether or not, if it lifted it up or just happened to pick it up and, you know what I mean?
It's like it tried to catch us off guard or something. Like it just lifted it right off the wall real quietly,
Well, I bet it did.
Just to try. It almost hit us. It almost landed on my son.
So is the activity ramping up now, or?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's ramping up, but like it's definitely been some really clear experiences that I've had in recent months.
Well, I know that in recent months, because I don't want to talk about your personal life, but in recent months you've had a lot of changes that have happened in your personal life with a lot of energies and stuff. And so, do you think that maybe is feeding off of those energies?
Possibly, quite possibly. Honestly, actually.
Because that's what I truly believe that. Whether it be happy energies or sad energies or anger energies or whatever. But when our emotions get higher, we're giving off more energy. You ever been out? You can tell somebody's sad. You can almost feel they're sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Or you can feel they're happy.
Yeah, I've never thought about that until now. But yeah, there's been some definitely some low points in the life here lately. But I mean, yeah, it definitely could have been feeding off of some of that energy there.
That's what I think it could be.
Huh.
Man.
Never thought of it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm coming up with. That's the possibility. Yeah, I think we're going to make you number 2, or we might even make you number 1. To be honest with you, I mean, we're up there, and we got the hot spot. As of this recording, we have the hot spot. I mean, by the time this episode drops, we may have already been up there and checked out. Checked your place out. But I will tell you that Bald Knob and the whole White County area, I don't know what it is, but I'm getting nothing but cryptid and paranormal reports. I mean, like every local encounter that I'm getting right now is coming out of White County.
Yeah.
So, and it's mind-boggling. And to where, me and Chris were talking, when I saw my shadow thing there on the farm, and he just looked at me and goes, "Welcome to White County." And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. I did not realize how crazy White County was, And if you think about it, too, because you always hear, I mean, everybody makes fun of it, to be honest with you. Meth capital, meth this, meth, blah, 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 blah. And what if there's a lot more to it than that? What if there's more to, maybe there's a lot more of the paranormal and everything going on and the cryptid, there. And I think, when we talked about the Bald Knob Rock and how that, the train came through and destroyed it and it was a trading post and, looking into, the history of the area as well, I'm thinking it was a major Native American area, to be honest with you.
It was. Yeah, so I did I did the city website and I did a lot of research just so I could write, about history and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, like there was tons of people that would come through Bald Knob when the Rock was here, and that's what it's named after, is Bald Knob Rock. They would meet here to trade, and I'm sure, being in the Western days and whatnot, there wasn't law hardly at all, so everybody got away with everything. I'm sure the most heinous things, and I know there's a lot of bad energy there, and a lot of residual energy, and
Yeah, Bald Knob just feels off.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, when I ran up there, through Schwann's, and, just the thought of going to Bald Knob for whatever reason is always just like unnerving. I don't know why. And
it's a cute town. Don't get me wrong.
oh no, it's a great community, and the people there are wonderful. I mean, I love the people that live up there. I mean, the customers that we had for Schwann's were great. I never had a problem with any of them. It was just always this weird feeling. And it seems like the further, for me, it's not the further north I go from North Little Rock, the more and more it gets. All the way through, because I had to travel up to Sykeston, Missouri all the time for Schwann's, and I'd feel weird all the way until Missouri.
Yeah.
So just something about that part right up there. It's just kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of old original, buildings still standing today here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that things attached to those things,
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, to be honest with you, so, the old saying is this, when you're fishing and when you're hunting or whatnot, when you get a hot spot, you stay with it, jump on it.
Yeah, you don't want to leave.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, to where, we did the interview, last night, podcast Time Travel, of, part 1 and part 2 of our investigation from Saturday. And I told the guys, like, I'm ready to go back again. I want to go. I mean, now it's like calling me.
Yeah.
And, and the funny part about it is, I talked to, Chris, who lives up in that area. I talked to him last night. I was like, yeah, tell him, I was interviewing you tonight. And I said, yeah. And he lives in me, he goes, Bald Knob. I went, Bald Knob. So there's something between BB and Bald Knob. I don't know what it is, but there's something. I know the Cersei's got some weird stuff that goes on, some cemetery thing as well that people are telling me about. Yeah, I mean, it's like a huge area. Yeah, I think we're gonna. Yeah, you're down for it. Yeah, we'll set something up because.
I'm absolutely down.
Yeah, Chris is gonna get an IR lens for his camera and stuff because he's all about this as well, which is great. And yeah, and then we'll have your camera equipment and everything as well. And I'll just warn you now. So either 1, I attract these things, or 2, I repel them.
There's no in between, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, to where it's with everything. I mean, we went to Tombstone, Arizona, and I got touched at the Birdcage Theater. I got touched at the Four Quarter, and I mean, to where, Todd from the Musical Seer and What's in the Corner episodes, he's a medium, and he said he just has this feeling to where if they're there and I walk in, they're like, oh, look, Matthew's here. They get excited. And if there's anything bad about them, I'm going to be like, nope, time for you to go. And they go. I've never been in a paranormal situation to where I've told them it's time for you to leave, that they didn't leave.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
So, but of course, I also, I use, I use God, and stuff like that. So it's not just me going, hey, God said for you to leave, time for you to go. You're not welcome here, through the power of God. So I would try and do some praying as well. If it gets too bad in there, I mean, I would probably do some praying.
I have been, definitely,
Yeah, especially with what you're going through as well. I've learned, because I had people tell me that through the podcast and researching and everything that, it's, I mean, it's take me away from God. And I'll be honest with you, through the research on everything, cryptid-wise, paranormal-wise, and through the podcast so far, it's actually brought me closer to God.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
cool.
Yeah, which is great. And, I had a friend of mine, we were talking about energies earlier, and she sent me a text message, and it was beginning of July. And I was driving in my Jeep, and I was on my way to go pick up my daughter, just got off work. And she texted me, she goes, is that you in a black Jeep with the American flag on the back? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And she goes, you were just radiating so much happiness and peace. And I was just like, well, I am happy, you know?
That's cool.
So she was able to see that enough, and that was what I thought was pretty awesome about it.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, though. I do want you to come back for a part 2, because I do know that there's some other things that we want to talk about, correct?
There is, yes.
All right, would you be down to come back for a part 2?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Cool, because, I mean, with everything that's going on, everything, and there's more. And I think the part 2 is going to be a really good one, and I'm going to try and tie that in, and I'll talk to you about it off the air with somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be like we'll do like a conference call with this other person. If I can get him on board, and this other person, because I know the topic, and so this other person is a lot more knowledge on the issue than I am. And
Okay.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the amount of knowledge that he could drop on it.
That's cool.
I know.
It'd be cool to finally have answers after 30 years.
Yeah, you're going to have some answers here. Yeah, well, I'm going to work on it, because I've already talked to him a little bit about it. He's got a super busy schedule. He runs another podcast, and they drop episodes like every day. They're recording all the time nonstop. So, and
cool.
this guy's the Cryptids of Corn. So, but yeah, I'm going to reach out to Justin and kind of explain to him a little bit what's going on. See if I can't have him jump on for a little bit while you go through your encounter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, and then maybe even use that, for his show or something like that. So we'll try and do what we can. But yeah, so Dillon, man, I'm excited to have you on the team. I'm excited for you to be working the website and everything. I'm grateful for it. I'm excited to have you come out and help, record, our investigations and stuff. I really am. I think your dad is going to probably be more excited than you realize about it. I haven't decided if
I'm
I
excited
should.
to be a part of it.
I don't know if I should tell him or if you should tell him. I haven't figured out who's going to tell him first.
How about we just tell them together?
How about we just show up?
That'd be cool.
Oh, even better. You know what we'll do? We'll just wait till the video drops, and then we'll send them the link.
That's even better. Like, hey, man, look at this.
Yeah, or you get a chance to come on down to the tavern and hang out. Or send them a picture of you and me having a beer together.
There we go.
I like that idea, too. All right, well, Dillon, man, again, I appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. I mean, you gave me goosebumps, and that takes a lot for someone to give me goosebumps. I'm not going to lie.
Man, I get goosebumps even today, trust me.
Yeah, I get goosebumps
it's
from my
creepy stuff.
encounters, but, and generally I'm really good at going, man, that was scary, but you gave me some goosebumps tonight. That was excellent. Excellent.
Well, it's terrifying.
Unfortunately for you, yeah. Yeah. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We will come up. We're gonna get a date, and after our investigation next weekend, we get a date. And if things go well, hell, we may jump. No, I'm not going to take us up to your place after being in the woods. I'd rather be clean about it. You know what I mean? And maybe we'll set something up for when it gets a little cooler. We could come up there, maybe do a little fire pit, and maybe get your dad to come up as well. Hang out and knock everything out at once.
That sounds cool.
I like that. We'll make a little reunion together.
We need one. It's been what, 10 years?
It's been a long time. It's been too long.
A hot minute.
It has been. All right. Well, everybody, thank you again for listening to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. Man, this was a lot of fun. Again, if you've had an encounter, please email me at drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Reach out to us. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're not on X as of this recording, so that may change. But, we do get T-shirts out there. We are working more on koozies and hats. And, again, like us, share us, give us that 5-star rating. Drop a comment. Tell us where you're listening from. Yeah, we want to hear from you. Even if, whether you like the show or not, you like something, email us. Let us know what you think. We appreciate all the hard work. We appreciate you guys listening in. And until next time, hey, y'all stay safe out there.
Anything